What is up, guys? This is Nightmare, and today I have a new build video for you all. This is my updated Magicka Sorcerer build called Sempiternum for the Clockwork City and Horns of the Reach update. Since not a lot of things have changed from Horns of the Reach to Clockwork City update, this build will work very good for both of those. So if you recognize my last Sempiternum build for Morrowind, I changed some things around with this build. First off, I changed the recovery set I was using. I wasn't happy with how Lich was performing in Morrowind. I just felt like it wasn't working as intended. I wasn't getting my Magicka recovery boost for some reason. At least that's how I felt. I wasn't getting as much recovery as I felt I should have with Lich. So I first got rid of that set, and with getting rid of Lich, I wanted to have a 5-piece bonus that was active on both bars, which led to me having one 5-piece set bonus on at all times, so I just went ahead and had two 5-piece bonus sets on at all times with a 1-piece monster set. So that's what this build is going to be. This is going to be a light armor build. I also have a heavy armor Magicka Sorcerer build that I will be releasing shortly. If not shortly, like this week, maybe in a couple weeks or something. But the heavy armor build is definitely a lot of fun too. Puts down just as much damage and has just as much recovery, but it feels very, very good. Alright, so let's get right into the build, starting off as always with my gear I'm using. My first 5-piece set is going to be Shacklebreaker. So Shacklebreaker is perfect for this build. I love running Shacklebreaker now. It's probably one of the best sets you can run. And the nice thing about Shacklebreaker is that it's craftable, so you don't have to worry about grinding traits or anything. Shacklebreaker also works with pretty much every single spec in this game. Magicka stamina, DPS, tank, whatever. It's craftable. It has great stats, as you can see. We get 2 3-piece weapon damage and spell damage. Very good. We have 4-piece. We get both stam and Magicka recovery. Very good. Stamina recovery is very, very important on a Magicka Sorcerer. You may be thinking, stamina recovery is only important if you're running a stamina build. That's not the case. Magicka builds still need some stamina sustain too. If they run out of stamina, you're not going to be able to break free or anything. And also, the more stamina recovery you have, the more you can block and dodge roll. So our 5-piece bonus is going to increase our max stam and max Magicka pool by 2,000 with gold. Something I wanted to say, a lot of people complain that I don't make my gear golds. The reason why I don't make my gear gold is because it's too expensive for me to do so when I'm always theory crafting and coming up with new builds. So if you want to see my gear gold and you want to see it with max stats, feel free to send me gold in game or send me crafting materials. So anyways, going back, we have 5-piece max stam, 5-piece max Magicka, so that increased stam pool is going to be very nice, very helpful. More dodge rolls, more blocking, like I said, stacked on top of that, stam recovery is very juicy. And then that max Magicka is just going to increase our damage output, along with the size of our shields, which is very, very good. So I went ahead and went with a infused Inferno Staff. Inferno Staff is going to be best because it's going to increase our single target damage. And then I went with infused because I wanted a very high burst proc from my enchantment, which I went with shock. We get most benefits from shock enchantments on a sorcerer, so I recommend doing that. And if you don't want to run infused, you can run Nirnhones. I just didn't have any Nirn stone or whatever it's called, so I went with infused because it's cheaper. Also, we have a Shacklebreaker Restoration Staff. Now I have a Defending Restoration Staff. You can go with Powered if you choose to. And then this is where I have my weapon and spell damage enchant. Lasts for 5 seconds. So whenever you go to your Restoration Staff, try to weave in that light attack to get this proc. And also remember to do heavy attacks to get big Magicka bonus returns. Our 1-piece monster set we're running with this build is going to be Molokena. This is going to be an infused heavy with max Magicka enchant, so we're going to get a lot of max Magicka. And then our 1-piece bonus is going to give us spell damage. You can also go with a monster piece that gives you max Magicka. It'll be slightly less damage, but you'll have more max Magicka to have bigger shields. Moving on, we have our rest of our Shacklebreaker pieces. I have a infused robe. So infused is going to be on our 3 big pieces, our head, our chest, and our legs. Infused, so we get increased max Magicka from our enchantment. And then I think I have Impin on the rest. So Impin feet, and pin hands, and pin waist, and pin shoulder. So yeah, again, Shackle Breaker is gonna give us that nice max Magicka. And then Shackle Breaker shoulders. And then we have our second 5-piece set, which is going to be Curse Eating Sash. Now, Curse Eating Sash, or Curse Eater set, excuse me, is... I think I got my wrong jewelry on. Let me switch jewelry real quick. I was playing my heavy armor build, so let me just switch this around real quick. So Curse Eating, sorry about that. Curse Eating is going to be very nice for a light armor build. So we're getting max health, which is going to increase our effective tankiness. We're getting max Magicka. Magic recovery, which is very important. So we get 2 magic recovery bonuses from armor with this build. I feel like that's all that's necessary. And then we get to reduce the duration of the negative effects, which makes us pretty tanky. I don't really see too many people running Curse Eater, but it is actually going to help our survivability quite a lot. So I got my Curse Eater belts and hands, and then I'm running Curse Eater jewelry. 3 arcane, all spell damage enchants. Again, there's another look at the Curse Eater set, reducing the duration of negative effects. So this can be like debuffs, like armor debuffs. I believe this is also like dots and etc. So Curse Eater is very nice. The Wizard's Riposte set. I saw some people using Wizard's Riposte and talking about Wizard's Riposte. I don't think Wizard's Riposte is a good set to run on a Magicka Sorcerer. As you can see, critical damage taken, well, we're going to be stacking shields, so the only time we're going to be taking crit damage is when our shields are down, and I just don't find that to be effective. Whereas Curse Eater can negate negative effects even if it's on a shield or not, so Curse Eater is very nice. Going to go over my food I'm using real quick. Witch Mother's Brew, of course, we get that max Magicka, magic recovery, and max health. Very good, drink or food to use. And then for potions, you can use immovability potions that give you immovability, max Magicka, and spell crit. I usually just use throwaway trash Magicka potions, or these Essence of Spell Power potions. But yeah. I don't really invest too much in potions just because I can't afford it. So that's going to cover my gear and food and drinks I'm going to be using. So next, let's go over my spells. Alright guys, so starting on the Destro staff bar, my Inferno staff, we're going to be running Crystal Frags. As always, Crystal Frags is a must for Magicka Sorcerer for both PvE and PvP, so you should definitely have this on there. Crushing Shock, I used to run the other morph of this that did increase damage. I switched to Crushing Shock just because people had recommended it to me, that it's just easier, it interrupts, which is very nice, it sets people off balance. So I went ahead and tried this out. I haven't really been finding any good uses for it yet, but I'm sure I will when I need to like interrupt people from range when they're resurrecting or rezzing someone. Also, this can cancel anything with a long cast time, such as Soul Assault, Jesus Beam, Snipe, anything like that. You can interrupt it with Crushing Shock, which is very nice. I just haven't put it in use yet. Next up, we got Haunting Curse. Very good damage. Pretty much what you're doing with your Magicka Sorcerer is timing your burst with Haunting Curse, Crystal Frags, and then executing. That's how you're getting your burst potential. So, like I said, Endless Fury is going to be our next ability. I run Endless Fury instead of the other morph because it's going to give us Magicka return when we get that kill, so help us with sustain. And it's going to do, once they drop below 20%, they blow up, doing tons of damage. As you can see, they're almost 13k damage, so it's a good execute. And then I have a ward on my front bar just for survivability, and I run Shooting Star for my ultimate. You can also use Eye of the Storm if you choose to, if you're going to be running through Zergs or anything like that. But Shooting Star is going to be a lot better choice. It's cheaper, it does really high single target damage, it has a CC built into it, very good burst. So Shooting Star is a very good ultimate to run. Next up, we got Healing Ward combined with Harness Magicka. So what you do with this is you put your Healing Ward first, and then you put your Harness Magicka over top of your Healing Ward. This protects the Healing Ward's shield, which means you get a bigger heal from it. If you don't know how this works, as long as you have a shield active, or the healing ward shield stays active when the time expires, you get healed for that the size of that shield. So you want to try to protect that shield from taking any damage so you can get a good burst heal. This can usually heal you from like 25% to full if you keep the full shield up. Healing word isn't something you want to spam. You want to press it once, go straight to Harness Magicka second, and then go right back to your offensive bar. If you need another ward, you press your hardened ward, and then you can start doing your damage. Continuing on with the rest of the staff bar, these are mostly going to be buffs and utility. So Streak is going to be really good for escaping, and also has a stun that goes through block. So if you want, you can cast your meteor. If they're holding block, you can streak through them and stun them to make them take the full damage from your meteor. And it's a really good getaway tool, really good for kiting. And then I have Dark Conversion. Since we're running a lot more stam recovery now, and I have a big stam pool with this build, I don't need to use Dark Deal. The reason why I used Dark Deal was because I had a lot of max Magicka and a lot of Magicka recovery, which I had no stam recovery, so I needed to turn that max Magicka into stam. I pressed Dark Deal one time and I had a full stamina bar. Now that I'm having a way to get stamina return, I can now turn that excess stamina into max magic, which helps my sustain very nicely. So that's why I'm running Dark Deal now, or excuse me, Dark Conversion. Last ability, we got Power Surge. I prefer Power Surge over Entropy, just because that's my playstyle. If you want to use Entropy, go ahead and do so. But this is going to give me my spell power buff by 20%. And it also is going to give us some healing whenever we crit. Very nice. And then Power Overload I use for my third bar. On my third bar, I am running Daedric Minefield. This is like my getaway bar, so Hardened Ward for survivability since I don't have anything else. I'm running Dark Conversion again on this bar, Streak again, and then these are the two abilities that I have extra. So I could throw my Daedric Minefield down and play around it, or I can throw it down to get away, or turn on someone. Boundless Storm is going to give me some tank stats, some resistance stats, and it's going to give me my Major Expedition. So when you switch to this bar, you're really just using it to kite, throwing around your Daedric Minefield. You got your not Endless Fury, your Boundless Storm active, which means you can run around quicker, you can streak around. So getaway bar and for sustain. So that's going to cover my skills. If you don't want to watch the rest of the passives you should take, go ahead and skip that part to the next part. But I'm going to go over passives for people that are unfamiliar with builds. So Dark Magic, we have all of our Dark Magic passives, all of our Daedric Summoning passives, and all of our Storm Calling passives. The reason why we went with that electric damage enchant is because of the Energized passive, increased physical and shock damage by 5%. And then we got Expert Mage, which is going to increase our spell damage for each Sorcerer build we have on this bar. Daedric Summoning, what's really important, is going to be your Power Stone, reduced cost of ultimates, and that's pretty much it. You don't have to take the other ones if you choose not to. Dark Magic, all of these are going to be taken. Reduced cost of magic and stamina abilities, reduced cost, or excuse me, a heal whenever you hit something with a Dark Magic ability. So your Minefield or your Crystal Frag is going to heal you. This is going to increase duration of Dark Magic abilities, so for your Daedric Minefield. And this is going to give you Minor Prophecy for increased crit. Destro Staff passives, we're taking all of these. Restoration passives, take all of these also. Light Armor, all these are going to be important. You're wearing, I believe, 6 light, 1 heavy. And then for your heavy armor passives, when you're running this build, all you need is this. Since we're running that 1 piece heavy from on our helmet, we do get 2% increased max health, which can be pretty nice. Moving down, we got Mage's Guild. This is where you can find Shooting Star. And then we're going to be running Might of the Guilds, which is going to be empowering our next ability. And then Undaunted, I have 4% increased max stats overall because I'm running 6 light, 1 heavy. Unfortunately, you can't run 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy with this build. Racial choice, I am a high elf, if you couldn't tell already. This is going to be your preferred class because we're getting increased damage on our shock, crushing shock, and this class gives us the most shock damage, so Endless Fury is going to hit harder. Magic Recovery, like I said, is going to be good. Max Magicka, and then here's the increased shock damage. So that's pretty much going to cover skills and passives. Next up, I'm going to go over champion points. So this is going to be for people that don't know how to organize their champion points on their own. This is going to be a guide for that. If you already know how to organize champion points and you have an effective way you like to do it, go ahead and do so, and you can skip this part. Starting off on the blue tree, I have 75 points into Elemental Expert for 14% increased damage, Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic, 40 into Elfborn for 16% increased crit damage, and 54 into Spell Erosion for some really good spell crit, or spell penetration. Something you really want to get into is 51 points in Mastered Arms. That 19% direct damage is going to be very helpful. Everything we do is direct damage. We don't have any dots with this build. For the green tree, I have 20 into Tumbling, reduce dodge roll by 9%, 64 Arcanist for 13% magic recovery. I'm also running 27 into Mooncow for 7% stam recovery. This is going to be really good since we do have a little bit more stam recovery with this build. 49 Tenacity for 11% increased Magicka returns on heavy attacks. I don't heavy attack that often, but if there's kind of a pause in the fight and I have time to put in a heavy attack, I'll do so with my Restoration Staff. Since it can't be dodged. You can dodge the heavy attack from your Inferno Staff. However, the heavy attack from the Restoration Staff, is like a channel ability, or a channeled heavy attack. I have 3 into Sprinter, that's just my excess points I had, so 2% reduced cost of sprint. 20 into Warlord, reduced break free. 37 Siphoner. Siphoner is like built-in poisons into your champion points. 40 into Bastion. Bastion's going to be really good to spec into on a Magsork because we're stacking shields, which is pretty much the only class that stacks shields for survivability. With other classes, you have a little bit more healing, so quick recovery is more likely to be taken with a different build. But like I said, we're stacking shields, so Bastion's fairly good. 56 and 56 into Hardy and Elemental Defender, so we're getting 12% reduced damage across all damage types. 18 Thick-Skinned, reduced damage taken from damage over time effects or dots. 10 into Resistant for a little bit of crit resistance, and then 40 into Ironclad. Ironclad is the counter to Master at Arms, so we're going to be taking 16% reduced damage from direct damage attacks. So like I said, it's the counter to Master at Arms, which is this one here. Going back with some of the passives we want, Unchained is going to be really good. So after we break free, we can get a very cheap, almost free cost of our stamina ability. So after breaking free, you have 5 seconds to use your Dark Conversion pretty much for free. So this is something you really want to try to get used to after breaking free. There really aren't any other tier passives that I really go for when I do my champion points. Except for these are going to be all really important, but you're naturally going to put in tons of points into here anyways, so you're going to get these specs. Really the only thing I try to do purposely is getting the Unchained passive. So that's going to cover my champion points. Alright guys, I'm going to show you my buff stats with the Sempiternum build real quick. Fully buffed up with my Major Sorcery on my Inferno Staff. This is with all purple gear and a purple weapon, so you can definitely get a lot more higher stats than what I have right now. So we're looking at 38k max Magicka, 12k max stam with almost 22k max health, 1700 magic recovery, and almost 2700 spell damage with 32% spell crit. And then we're sitting at 1300 crit resistance. I know a lot of people who play Magicka believe that you don't need anything until your crit resistance, but when your shields go down and when you're stunned and you can't break free and your shields get ripped through, you're gonna die instantly to crits from Nightblades or any build that is running at least some kind of decent crit. If they hit you with a crit when your shield is down, you're gonna get hit really hard with no crit resistance. So you have a little bit more flexibility with shield stacking or ward stacking when you run higher crit resistance. I usually run around 2k, a little bit more than that on a normal build, but with a shield stacking build, I mean, anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 is really good. I would be sitting around 1,000, but I put in some more points into crit resistance from champion points. So I have all my attribute points into max magic. And then right now I am running the apprentice for spell damage. If you had more divines pieces instead of the inpin pieces, your spell damage would also be looking a lot higher. Closer to 3k probably. And then apprentice, so spell damage. You can also run the mage, which is max magicka. So if you want to sit closer to 40k max magicka, that would be a really good option too. However, I'm just playing with the spell damage. I feel like that gives me the most damage output. The magicka boon or Mundus Stone is going to give you more survivability because shields scale off max magic. Again, the food I'm using is Witch Mother's Potent Brew. And as you can also see, I don't have any buffs, so these are my actual stats. Not cheesing my stats or anything like that. So that's going to cover the build. My Sempiternum Light Armor Magicka Sorcerer builds for the Horns of the Reach and Clockwork City update. I've been loving this build a lot. I've been playing it around a little bit, and I can already tell that it's going to be a perfect build. Really, I don't see myself changing anything around with this, but it is just amazing. Damage output is great. Sustain is perfect. It just fits my playstyle with Magicka Sorcerer so well. So like I said, I do have another build coming out from my Magicka Sorcerer, which is going to be heavy armor, and that build performs just as well as this one, if not better. So definitely make sure you stay tuned for that build, which will be released soon. If you want to see that build as soon as it comes out, I definitely recommend subscribing. And if you see next to that notification, the little bell thing, make sure you click that so you get instant messages to your phones or your tablets or your desktop, whatever you're running on. You get notifications so you know whenever I upload a new build video or any other content. So if you like the build, if you want to see more from me, please make sure to like and subscribe. Any questions, comments, or concerns on the build, please ask me down in the comment section below. I always answer any comments, so you can definitely get a lot of knowledge that if you did not learn from the video, I can definitely help you in the comment section. I would also be willing to help people with their builds online. If you want to message me through PSN, my PSN is nightmare121. I can always help you in-game, or if you just want to play and hang out, I'm down for that too. So until next time, I will see you all later.
It worked a lot better for me.
Yeah.
Cause I was using that Silverbane, but you know it's only good whenever you're fighting magic characters. You're fighting Stam. You're not getting any resources back.
This is pretty good for the sword. It's Mad Tinker. It's spell critical. Spell damage. When you deal damage, you have 10% chance to summon a Verminous Fabricant that charges the nearest enemy, dealing 10,000 shock damage to all enemies in the path, knocking them down into the air, stunning them for 2 seconds, and this effect can occur every 10 seconds. Very good.
Yeah, I know that that one set that's in that new dungeon, Flame Rolls or whatever it is, something like that. I was thinking about trying to back the jewelry pieces up and running on this.
Which
Just
one?
to see how it is.
Flame Blossom?
Yeah, Flame Blossom. That's what
Oh man, that's dirty. That's pretty good. I will use that on a light armor DK. It's pretty hard. I fought a Nightblade the other day and he was using that.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was using that shit.
Worked pretty good.
You know, oh, this is capture the flag. This is capture the flag. Somebody's taking arms. Yeah, it was pretty good, man. They have. Okay, move. They got They got cripple, and they root you forever. You always take the fire. That thing hits for like 12k flame damage. Yeah, the set is good overall for anything. Even a Templar can use it. I'll probably use it on my Templar because of the snare. It will be hard for the opponent to get out of the way. Got it? No. They got ours.
There's an eye blade gonna come up here. To the left. I just been going still.
Damn.
Take. Sorry, I couldn't save you. Oh, that guy is throwing that. Goodbye. There's a green over here.
Yeah, he's right here.
Focus on that sorcerer.
Wow, why did he run over there with that relic, man?
That's a freaking warden right there. Die, bro. Oh, greens. They're gonna win for sure. They're taking purple. They're taking purples. We gotta take green. Hold it. Two of us. We can secure green.
Hell.
No, you're not gonna die.
Nice.
But they are.
Rip. Yo, I don't even care if we're gonna lose this shit.
We can actually win if we hold greens. We can win this shit. We just have to hold it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hold it there. We can take purples. I'm gonna try to take purple.
Got this one green. DK heading this way.
Watch out when I take ours back. Don't put greens on.
Fuck that
nice
wolf up.
dog. Nice dog.
Yeah, but he got it.
Nah, he's gonna die.
Oh shit, they're all dropping.
Right here, he took our shit.
They're all werewolves?
Yo, green's about to win it.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's gonna be too tanky for me to kill. Yeah, you won.